Hey,
Right.
were you guys ever in the what were they called? Oh damn, those fuck
You got this,
Uh,
Vishnu.
the thing the cyber cafe. This is the cyber cafe
oh yeah. Oh my
Counter
God.
Strike.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
He has many
That's my
hours.
Reliance
first
Web
instinct.
World,
Like
bro.
Yes, Web World. That was what I
Reliance
was
Web
thinking of.
World.
Reliance Web World.
I was there for 2 years. Let's just put it that way.
Oh my.
When he says that, he means वो उधर ही सोता था.
Yeah,
He used to live
Ah,
there
yeah,
only.
I get that.
pretty
Two
much.
years of real time. That's what he's saying, basically.
Yeah,
So,
dude.
like,
So
4 years
my
overall.
my 11th and 12th was Mithi Bai. So like, which one do you think is more appealing?
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Crossover Event, a show where unlikely nerds collide. This week we have pretty likely nerds. So we've got the hosts of Critical Hit, a podcast which is probably the first, or at least one of the first and only like shows dedicated to like video gaming and from an Indian perspective. We've got the hosts here today. We've got Harish and Karan. How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty sick. I love this year already. Like, it's been really very eventful.
We're definitely going to get into it. And while we're going to get into that, I wanted to start just at the beginning. And when I say that, I don't mean like how did you get into games, but probably you could tell us like what is a classic gaming kind of achievement that you're very proud of. Like I don't know if Jishnu can tell me his before we get you guys, but like for me, it was probably like owning a SNES, doing Super Mario
I
World.
think one that most people can relate to is back when I was 15, I and my dad walked into Planet M in Shopper Stop. Remember that, right? And I go in there and I'm like, Dad, I want a DVD player. And he's like, Oh, yeah, that'll be useful. Let's get a DVD player. What do I pick up? The PlayStation 2. Classic
Nice.
excuse. I think that was like the only excuse used by kids all over the world to get their
Yeah,
folks to
for
buy
sure.
a PlayStation 2. And the moment I had it in my hands, I was just like all Mr. Burns, excellent.
Wait, you you
I
you basically fooled your parents into saying that, oh, let's buy a DVD player, and yeah, it can also play games,
It
I
can also
guess.
play games.
I can give
What
you the
about you?
exact opposite. I can tell you when I was 8. Very long story short. Let's not get into it. I was living in Kazakhstan of all places for a year, so I'm in the middle of nowhere, in like on planet Earth, middle of nowhere. It's Kazakhstan. So I didn't really know left from right. And it's my 8th birthday. I go to the mall with my folks, and they're like, "All right, we'll get you a thing. What do you want?" And I had Sega on my mind. And because I'm an 8-year-old kid, my folks were like, "Okay, that's a lot of money. I don't know." So they're like, "Let's call my older brother who's at home." And they're like, "Hey, listen, so Jishnu wants a Sega. Is that a good thing to get?" He's like, "Oh, cool, yeah. If you can, well, you know what? Actually, there's this new thing called a PlayStation. You should get that." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Hey, Jishnu, he says you should get a PlayStation." I'm like, "No, I've never heard of it. I want a Sega." Okay, so I got a Sega because I was a
Nice. What
stubborn
about
little
what
brat.
about what about you, Karan? Do you have like a old nerd achievement as a gamer?
I mean, when I was 12, I think I had my Game Boy Advance. And at that point, it was nearly impossible to complete your Pokedex because you had to trade with the damn wires, and the wires were
Yeah.
Oh,
always missing
God.
stuff. And I had this one friend who I made him shut down his game and restart his game like 5 times just so that I could have all the starters. I was like, make a save file. Yeah, go through the whole thing. Yeah, send me the Pokemon. Send me the Pokemon. And I think that is like my first gaming achievement. Is like I completed my Pokedex when I was 12.
Ba- your real achievement was bullying somebody into
Yeah.
doing that
Sending him starters.
Yeah,
successfully.
yeah. It's like,
Oh,
excuse
well.
me, do it again.
Man, I remember, like back in the day, my brother had a Game Boy, the original Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Color, and then I got a Game Boy Advance. And I remember, like just with the wire also, it just at back then it felt like the possibilities were endless, right? Like that you could play 2-player, but you have to use a wire. It really wasn't as simple as they made it out to be. And now like cut to I don't know how many like decades later, it is so much easier to kind of get into games and stuff. So what would you say is probably like something you didn't expect gaming to have like in the future that you think you have right now?
I mean, just the seamless connectivity. I play video games with my friend across the planet. That in
Right.
itself is a feat. When you can think of, I met a guy. His name is Jay. He lives in France. I met him on Final Fantasy years ago.
I completely get that. Is that, change in the landscape of gaming? And we'll talk about it in context to India a little bit, into this show. But do you feel like this was the right time for you guys to start your podcast? Yeah, I think it's like, when did you guys start it? Maybe I want to say sometime last year.
We have been, I will admit, kind of slow with every episode. We've been taking our own time to, uh, polish through the entire game before jumping the gun like most reviewers do. Just going into the
Hey,
finer things.
hero, you don't do anything. You rush through the story. I sit and grind the whole thing, and then like, bro, did you do
You do the
this side
side
quest? And you're
quests.
like,
I do the discoveries.
Okay, so you're saying that Harish is the golden path kind of guy, and you're the completionist.
between us, yeah, I would say, but I'm not a completionist. Like I naturally explore more than I like to play main story, because I'm just like, I
Sure.
wonder the work the developer has put into the side stuff.
Right.
And I like to see like how far have they taken it? Have they tried something new? Has this game taken a different direction?
I wonder how many games are you guys playing simultaneously when you know you're going to review a game, which is like a big game that is potentially 60 plus hours.
I think at any point I am playing 3 or 4. Like recently, I've been doing my third playthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition. It's
Okay.
Right.
because there's certain parts of the game, and I wanted to change my party and experiment a little bit. So I was going back to that. At the same time, I was playing Yakuza 3. Um,
Right.
as usual, we were playing Call of Duty. There's always some time dedicated to that. And I've been exploring some indies like Raji, the new Indian
Nice.
independent game that came out on the Switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been like a healthy mix, and stuff like indies usually go just before bedtime for a bit, and I
So you have
found
a proper
found a
schedule
nice
for that.
formula, yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, the beauty of indies is it's not 60 hours long, right?
That is true.
It'll be
Right.
condensed, and it's usually condensed. The great ones are condensed quality. And when you get
Absolutely.
condensed quality, it's a fascinating experience because you're hooked to it. Stardew Valley is a giant experience, completely made by one individual. And I ask Harish, I was gone for 2 weeks. I was gone.
Dude, same.
I was like,
I think 40 hours of my life, boom, just gone. And I was just like, okay, cool, I have to stop this now because it's endless.
250 hours. 250 hours I have put
Oh
into
my
that game.
gosh. I remember there's a movie we've spoken about on the show before, but like there's a movie called Indie Game, the movie. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have seen it. Yeah, but it's such a nice documentary about those, those 3 games in particular and how they are made and things like that. And
Yeah.
in that, I think it was the creator of Fez, and I think he says like, indie games, it's a Super Meat Boys. I think they say like, indie games are like real, like they're like real people, and they have soul, and they have like glitches and idiosyncrasies that like make it like very, very like flavorful, as opposed to big studio games, which are like obviously really satisfying to play and have amazing graphics, but the soul is lost a little bit.
the greatest testament to an indie game having soul for me is Undertale.
Of course.
When you play Undertale, it is bare bones graphics. It has nothing to do with the graphics. But you read that story and you're so attached. And at the end of it, you come out and you're like,
You're curling into
What
a
have I
ball,
done?
just rocking back and forth. Like, why did I go
Yeah.
through that? Where's my soul
But-
now?
I mean, even Stardew, for example, right? It doesn't have like the most brilliant graphics or anything in the world, but
Right.
it has the formula, the soul, the heart of one individual who's like, look, this is what I would love to play.
Right. That is essentially it, I guess.
So,
just like
I mean,
yeah, personal kind of dream.
It comes down to a
versus-
developer thing also. It's the same, corporate world versus doing your own thing kind of situation, right? So I know a lot of devs who work for big companies like Ubisoft and
Of
Rockstar,
course, yeah.
right?
Right.
And most of them have the same general opinion. It's kind of like you hate, the whole corporate life that you're being thrown into. You work
Yeah.
like 16-hour days, you get into crunch and everything, but at the same time,
Right.
they're associated with a franchise or a series that they love. and they
Right.
still want to put their best efforts into, say, Assassin's Creed, say, Red Dead Redemption.
Right.
Right.
When I asked you, Harish, like I just WhatsApp you, you just like immediately respond saying, 2020 has been such a great year. Ellipsis for video games. So,
Yeah, man. So, because like everyone's been locked at home, instinctively their first purchase has either been like a PlayStation 4 or a Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch ran out in India and tripled in price almost, selling for like 50, 60K. Just before the lockdown happened, the biggest thing to drop was Call of Duty's Warzone. It couldn't have been more timely, following with Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal, right? Three biggest titles out there that kept people engaged for hours. I think Call of Duty hit 25 million players in 4 months. So,
They made a really good move. They went free to play with Warzone. When you go free to play, your traffic in your game just skyrockets. And they gave you free to play with that kind of graphical fidelity and quality. And then you have every single meme page that kept adding to it. Right? Like they have like moments of a guy who's opening his heart out to another dude, and then the guy just jumps off the car and lets the car fly off a cliff, and the other dude's dead. And it's like you have all these like ridiculous memes constantly popping out, and you see that COD is one of those games that forever, like any shooter, will always have an appeal to people. It's the way we like to shoot things. It's
easy to pick up,
weird,
hard
but
to
it's like
master.
yeah, easy to
much
pick
fun
up,
to
hard to master, and fun to play with friends.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I think it all boils down to that's why it's been a great year for gaming, is because people are on their headsets talking to each other, like you were saying earlier, playing games together, because I can't meet you in person, but I can meet you in game.
In game, yeah, in a cooler environment than just a Zoom call, right? Like essentially, it's like you can do stuff together. It's like kind of taking the place of like what would be like a trip to Goa. It's just like now you're in the middle of a
Now,
battlefield.
It's a
yeah.
very unconscious thing. Like we'll be playing, like me, my brother, we have a whole group of friends that we play at least 1 hour of COD in the night together. And yeah, the match is going on and all that, but it's more about like communicating with each other, just rambling on. Some people's like, this happened today, and you tend to tune out of the game, but you're still playing the game, and it becomes like
Muscle
a chill
memory.
session.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you're
become
just
muscle
hanging out
memory
with
at
your
that point,
bros, like shooting some foos, getting shot at, like just chilling, bro. And it turns into a hangout session, just like
While
if you were doing a
discussing
Zoom
things,
party.
Yeah, pretty much.
like discussing things like who brought the plague into the building today.
Right. Yeah. Hey,
Very
were
right.
you guys ever in the what were they called? Oh damn, those fuck.
You got this, Vishnu.
The thing, the cyber cafe. This the cyber cafe.
Oh yeah! Oh my
Counter
God!
Strike
Yeah,
generation.
course.
You
yeah, of
guys,
course.
yeah,
Yes,
It's a
after
lot of
school.
money.
Yes, man.
That's my
Reliance
first
Web
instinct,
World,
like-
bro.
Yes, Web World. That was what I
Reliance
was
Web World.
Reliance Web World.
I was there for 2 years. Let's just put it that way.
Oh my God.
Basically, I was
So, yeah,
studying
see-
at
When he says that, he means wo udhar hi sota tha. He used to live
Yeah.
there
I
only.
get that.
pretty
2
much.
years of real time. That's what he's saying, basically.
Yeah,
so
dude,
like
so
4 years overall.
My 11th and 12th was Mithi Bai. So, like, which one do you think is more appealing?
I'll give it.
Fair enough.
And
but
those
But
were like
when
my.
you ask the question of what is better or worse, I think it's different. I think they each have their own appeal to it. And especially during like the situation we're in today, it definitely has more weight that, you know, we have this ability to still play video games with each other without being in close proximity to each other. We try to recreate the vibe of it, but it's a different vibe. When you're playing Tekken against someone in the same room versus playing Tekken with someone who's in another room.
A faceless.
Yeah,
competition,
also just like watching the other person swear at you in front of you is a lot more fun, and get triggered in front of you is a little more satisfying than getting triggered over the headset.
All right. So we were talking mostly about how 2020 has been such an interesting year, at least in the consideration of multiplayer games. I mean, there is the whole like idea that, you can communicate with people, and gaming is such an interesting way, obviously, to do it. It is the next, I always consider it to be like the frontier of storytelling at this point, like even more so than movies, because, it's participatory. It's, there's a dual shock, it's rumbles in your hand, so much of that. But
It's 4D.
it's tactile. Let's talk about some of the campaign based games that you guys have been playing this year. Have there been games this year that have that are not multiplayer, they're not online, but have like absolutely moved you and been like, wow, this is actually a year to kind of reckon with when it comes to like,
Harish is waiting. He's like, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2.
He's
Like, you can
locked
see
and
his face.
loaded.
He's just like, yeah, I want to Last of Us 2.
All right, because this is a controversial one. On our Discord, we were just talking about Last of Us, and there was somebody who was just like, Last of Us 2, fucking, how do they ruin something so great? And Harish, go.
It's a hit or a miss. Like, honestly, it was a risky way of telling the story. So I love the game. I love the way they took the narrative. Karan hated the way they took the narrative. Right? So
interesting.
it's very polarizing. The story is kind of like that.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
did have a
hate is a strong word. But like, it went like, see, because I respect the amount of work they've put into that game. It is a phenomenal experience nonetheless, whether you like the direction, gameplay wise. Let's talk like,
Okay.
because at the end of the
Just
day,
without the story, yeah.
you're still no, like the gameplay is part of the story. It has this
For sure.
rawness to it. Like when you take someone's life with Ellie, you're like, that was uncomfortable. And a game that can do that to you is fabulous to begin with. Like, it deserves that credit. It is a brilliant game. Certain aspects of the story, I was like, guys, there's
I've
no
seen one
reason. I don't want to
aspect go
spoil anything
online.
for someone.
Yes, one aspect has been spoiled online for a while now, so I feel like that's. I mean, I don't know if that's the one that you're talking about,
Golf
but
simulator.
No, the
yeah.
Joel thing, no, not at all. Not at all. That's fine. I understand why they have to do that. They have to show the growth of Ellie. It does make
sure.
growth, like, just if you look at a plot line, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you want your character to transition into adulthood, because she was the child in the first game, you need her to stand alone.
Do you feel like Last of Us 2 is also like a game like which people will come to appreciate maybe in the future, if not now? Is it a game like that?
Probably not. I mean,
Okay.
the first two games will definitely be, so to say, like memorialized of sorts.
Yeah. The first game
There
is
may or
the
may
classic,
not be
yeah.
a third, and it may or may not be taken well either. Right?
Yeah, as in like
Plot
people wouldn't
is
want
such.
one.
The plot is such,
See-
and I honestly don't want one. I like the way it went. I think it's a good like stop it. Like, let the good thing come to an end here.
It's called The Last of Us. Let
Exactly.
it be that.
Let it be that.
So Last of Us is definitely a game that has been kind of, obviously, like you said, polarizing. What else? Is there anything else this year in the AAA category that you feel like has been like really, really big? I know, because I've always wanted to kind of like, I got into Ghost of Tsushima like...
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah.
It's probably the game of the year for me. Jose put me on to it, and like I just didn't look back, and it's just like one of the best experiences for me this year. But like, what about any other games that you guys felt like that emotional kind of hook, that withdrawal at the end of the game, basically this year?
I know the exact opposite. That was the Avengers.
Okay, you know what? Let's talk about the Avengers. Let's do it, because I know. So I've started playing it. I'm a couple of hours in, but I struggle. And for simple reason, I mean, something that I spoke to Jishnu about, that for all the PS5 kind of loading time, saying the Ghost of Tsushima was such a seamless experience for load time.
Seamless, yeah.
And Avengers, which is like basically level based, I was like, how is it taking so much? I fell down as the Hulk, but I have to wait 30 seconds now.
30 seconds before you can come back. I'll be honest, I struggled to get through the game till the end. I really wanted to see the end, right? And I'm going, and I'm like, yes, I'm done with 16, 20, 17 hours of the game. Turns out I was only done with 10 hours. That's all the campaign is.
Yeah, it's really short.
Right? I was excited to play as Captain America.
Though?
Like, I was really excited to play as Captain America, right? Because he was my favorite.
Right.
But
Yeah.
eh,
I'm sure that was a disappointment for guys who are like fans and stuff. But people are still
Yeah.
playing it. So I
It,
don't
it's
know.
it, it's it's
The credit to the game though, like on the flip side, they killed it with
Yeah.
the Hulk. They killed
Yeah?
it with the Hulk. And
It was cool.
I've gone on like a 10-minute rant on the last episode when we covered this about how awesome the Hulk is. But I've also gone on a separate rant where they have only 3 mission types or 4 mission types,
absolutely.
and it's
Yeah.
cycled again and again and again,
Yeah.
and that's sad because
Yeah.
you could do so much, especially with the co-op. Like if they could
Yeah.
add elements of only Iron Man can do a move that triggers this, and then we have it invulnerable. There are so many little things I can tell you off the top of my head that could have made that experience richer. It's a
Right.
little
Yeah.
underwhelming. It's not
It
bad.
was yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
underwhelming.
It's just
Yeah.
one of those things where it felt like they made the game for like as a game as a service, right? Like it kind of
yeah,
they
they're
wanted to
banking
make it
on the
for that.
multiplayer a lot more.
All right, cool. So I just want to maybe just conclude this segment by asking you guys, like, what do you think? I know this is probably a topic for a completely like much longer kind of discussion, but how do you feel about like PlayStation and or at least Sony and Microsoft and their kind of involvement in India and kind of I was listening to another podcast on this and about how it's not been the best for gamers in India to actually be here. Do you see any of that like kind of changing for gamers here? Or do you see gaming as a whole kind of becoming more of a thing here? Is it more of a cultural thing? What are your thoughts on that?
I think with the
It's
dawning
yeah.
of like giant money esports, it's changing.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you can make money by doing something, people get interested in it. And if you
Yeah,
can make a lot of money playing Dota, people will be interested in it. Right?
that is
You
true.
have like
Yeah.
30 million pool like prize pools. What is 30 million for a like as a prize pool? When you think about it, you're like, it's a really difficult number to wrap your head around for 5 people.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Making
and
money
their
through
team and
streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
making
making
money
money
through
through
streaming
streaming.
is the new DVD player.
Yeah, Dad, can I just pick up this device for, just going and talking to some people online? Yeah,
It's
essentially.
always about just convincing the previous generation. That's all it is,
Yeah.
and that's getting fairly easier now. So I think it will open up much better. Microsoft
Yeah,
is doing a lot for India, but nobody's buying. That's kind of sad. But
right. No, fair enough. Yeah. Okay,
Sony,
I
cool.
mean, the
That was
problem
interesting.
again, we don't have Nintendo in India, right? We just don't
yeah,
have
Yeah,
Nintendo. It just doesn't exist here. I mean, and we
yeah,
need that bridge to be. Actually, the funniest thing is Nintendo will probably be the most highest selling console. Like the Switch
yeah.
would probably be the highest selling because it's more affordable. You
Yeah.
can put it onto your TV and have like full motion. It has YouTube on it.
Yeah.
It would weirdly sell really well in our
The fact that you can play it on the train is what will kill everybody. Yeah.
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 and it's half the price of any PlayStation even today. Like if you
That
go for
is
a
true.
PS4 Pro, it's still 40 grand. But an original, like if it wasn't the crunch that we're seeing now, it costs about
Yeah.
20 grand to get a Switch, and you get two
Yeah.
controllers when you buy it.
The gray market has been doing a lot of good stuff for Nintendo in India. If
Yeah.
only they could be credited.
You think it's a matter of time before we see Geo presents Nintendo Switch?
Oh god, no. Geo is going to present its own setup
See,
box with a controller, bro. You
Yeah,
already
that
put
would
yeah,
be.
FIFA on that thing,
they
so
yeah, they probably go down the Stadia road and be like, we've
yeah.
created our own streaming
Yeah, they already
controller,
have
which
guys. They
kind
already
of
have 5G, guys. 5G
Yeah.
is a thing. So you never know
That
what's
is more
gonna happen.
likely.
All right,
But
that is
again, that's
really
actually a very
interesting.
interesting point because it's stuff like that that is taking gaming forward in this country, where you realize
Yeah.
that PUBG is the most downloaded before its banning,
Yeah.
was the most downloaded app in the country. Why? Because it had voice chat on a free game on your phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
let you hang out with your friends, the same thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Go shoot people, be shot at, collect loot, the same old like gameplay loop that people love.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Barely
And
any
it
specifications.
is the greatest testament that when it got banned, the outrage.
But yeah, all right, cool. So that is interesting, man. Thank you, guys, about the like for telling us like what the scene is right now in India. I'm gonna turn it over to Jishnu to give us the subjects for you guys to give us your succinct, maybe controversial, maybe not, hot takes on. Jishnu, go.
This is think of it as word association, right? I say a thing, you tell me the thing that comes in your head. When I say Snyder Cut, you say
Martha!
Martha. Justice League.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
okay. Can we attempt to rank our favorite live action Spider-Mans? Spider-Mans.
I mean, see, because my favorite Spider-Man is like 2, I would say Tobey Maguire would top my
Maguire,
list
yeah.
just because I enjoyed the film so much. And I have like,
Right.
Tom Holland is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. He's awesome in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, right? Not only is he like physically that nimble and capable of
Yeah.
carrying the mobility of Spider-Man, that it makes it, I would say the modern version, he would be like, it's the perfect casting. It's very
Yeah,
hard to
it
say
is very
he's
good.
not, but
It
it's
is.
very good. And you have to credit that. It's like, it's not only the actor, but it's the package you get with the individual. Also, he's
Yeah.
silly in all his interviews and he makes a lot of mistakes and screws things up. And
Yeah.
that's also very Peter Parker. And I enjoy that.
Tintin or Asterix?
Tintin.
Oh,
Tintin,
okay.
my dog's name is Snowy. It wasn't because of
Yo.
my dog's name is Snowy. I'm gonna take it.
We'll edit
Like,
that out.
I love Asterix, but Tintin came first for me, before Asterix.
Same.
So that was like the gateway, so to speak.
Yeah, man.
It's Jishnu, we've been doing this series like where we ask so many people, and the first run, like for the first 10 episodes,
Yeah.
everyone, like most people was like
Everyone's
Asterix.
Yeah.
And Jishnu, Dinkar, and I think are all Tintin fans. Like, I mean, like we
Yeah.
love Asterix also. There's no.
But Tintin
cap.
was a clear winner for us.
Yeah, but Tintin is adventure, man. It's great.
I weirdly
Alright, cool,
enjoyed the
cool.
movie as well that came out.
Hey,
It
dude,
was
that
fun.
movie is an underrated
It was fun.
movie. I
Right?
think. It's
Have
quite
you
good.
guys seen Have you seen the animated cartoon, the TV show?
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
Of course.
I watched it so much as a kid, man.
Yeah.
Like, I got the comics, and then when I finally saw it on TV, I was like, it like my imagination, but it on the TV. Like, you were a kid, and you just like, for the first time you saw a storyboard get animated, and that was the
Yeah.
closest
Exactly.
thing I had.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have manga growing up. That when we watched Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z, we were like, hey, look, the what I thought kind of situation.
Right.
It was
No,
one
that's
of
one of
those
the-
good cartoons that was swept under the rug, like
Yeah.
Mummies Alive. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that,
Oh,
or
we should
like
talk about that soon.
Biker Mice from Mars, that kind of stuff.
Love Biker Mice from
Yeah,
Mars. One of
Biker
my
Mice.
favorites.
Yeah.
All the good cartoons that were swept under the rug, it was kind of with those.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, one final question for you. Is there a game that you love that everybody else seems to hate? That you
Death
don't get to
Stranding.
talk about enough?
Death Stranding, yeah.
That's Stranding.
Ah, I see. I know. I can see you standing. Yeah, okay. We got that.
Like,
All right.
Death
So
Stranding.
let's do a quick take on Death Stranding. I know a lot of people have said, you have to play it. It's like when people talk about TV shows, right? Like when people talk
Yeah.
about movies, they go like, oh no, yeah, it sucks. You don't need to watch it. But when you say TV shows, like most notably of late, like Schitt's Creek, right? People talking about Schitt's Creek. So no, man, you gotta get to like season 2, and that's when it really fucking slaps.
That's when it kicks off.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that's the kind of review most people said about Death Stranding, that it's a slow game, but you are rewarded ultimately. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
There's no
I would
pickup
say
point.
that there's a difference between playing a
Yeah.
video game and watching it. It's very boring to watch. And I think that in today's environment is actually more important than people realize, because streaming is so fundamental to selling your game. If people,
Yeah.
because first thing someone does is they watch your playthrough. And if they watch you just walking around for 40 minutes without really understanding what the feeling of
Why?
it is while doing it,
Yeah.
you will not enjoy it. You'll think it's a dumbass game, and I wouldn't blame you for it. I really wouldn't. I would be like, yeah, if I saw it, that was what I saw, I would be like, that seems kind of boring. But when you get into it and you're actually experiencing it, it's not a walking simulator, it's a trekking simulator. And they're two fundamentally different things.
That is the most interesting take I think I've heard about this game. That you have to kind of play it to kind of understand the just the tactile way it kind of works.
And the
That's
plot.
super interesting. All right, that's our episode, man. Thank you so much, you guys. Quickly, I don't know, we have less than 1 minute, but is there something you guys want to plug? You want to talk about the podcast? Now's your moment.
So we do slow play reviews. We do a lot of fun takes on the industry. Check us out on Spotify, Apple, Google. We're called Critical Hit. You'll find us at Critical Hit India. And yeah, we'll probably link you guys up. Hit us up on Twitter and Instagram.
Don't forget to critical hit that like and subscribe button. Subscribe to Geek Fruit. Don't forget to do that because you're helping us make you more content.
Oh,
You're right. I cannot disagree with you. You're doing God's work here, man. We do such a poor job of promoting our own stuff. So thank you for guest promoting. Like,
Yeah, bro. Like I see, I mix my own thing into mixing it with yours, bro. That's the next level.
you
It's
are
a
a
collab,
you
bro.
are a you are a content like king. Well done.